The Beethoven frieze by Gustav Klimt is on display in Vienna's Succession Building in Vienna, Austria. It is 7 feet tall and 112 feet wide. It was painted directly onto the walls of the Vienna Succession Building in 1902. The painting depicts a human's journey for happiness across all 3 walls. The Beethoven frieze represents an interpretation of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The Beethoven frieze marked the start of Klimt's golden period. It was one of the many Klimt paintings stolen by the Nazis during World War II. We know the Beethoven frieze is in the Vienna Succession Building now, but there is a dispute over whether it belongs there or not. Although the Beethoven frieze was bought by the Austrian government, it was a forced exchange and should still belong to the Lederer family. The rise of Hitler in the early 1920s eventually led to the destruction of families, lives, and artwork. Hitler's goal as leader of the Nazi Party was to have a pure race, which led to the Holocaust. In order to make his utopia come to life, Hitler also destroyed Jewish culture and history. He took everything he could from the Jewish population, including their furniture, pictures, and art collection. Throughout World War II, the Nazis disrespected, stole, and destroyed an enormous amount of artwork. They specifically looted art from prestigious Jewish collectors like August Lederer, the man who owned the Beethoven frieze during World War II. Throughout his reign, Hitler was planning to create a museum in his hometown of Linz. He wanted to display the artwork he looted in hopes that his museum could be the center of German culture. Fortunately, Germany lost World War II, making it impossible for Hitler to accomplish this. At the end of World War II, the Nazis destroyed Vienna's Succession Building. The building was an Austrian symbol for the secessionist movement. Prior to World War II, Gustav Klimt was commissioned to paint the Beethoven frieze. He was an Austrian artist who was a part of the secessionist movement. In 1902, about 20 artists worked together to honor Beethoven in the Vienna Succession's 14th exhibition. Beethoven, a famous composer, was a prominent part of the culture in Vienna. His music became a significant part of Austrian culture because he lived in Vienna for a short period of time. The 14th exhibition displayed many paintings and sculptures to honor him. The Beethoven frieze was painted with the intentions to be removed after the exhibit ended. However, the frieze was not removed because of a planned Klimt retrospective that followed the 14th exhibition. The painting stayed in the Succession Building until 1903, when Karl Reninghaus, a famous art collector, purchased the frieze. It was removed from the walls of the Vienna Succession Building and kept by Karl for 12 years. In 1915, Karl Reninghaus sold the painting to August Lederer, one of Klimt's most loyal followers. August had one of the best private collections of Klimt work when he bought the Beethoven frieze. In 1938, the frieze was taken into state custody by the Nazis. The Nazis took anything they could from the Jewish community to remove their identity. Art was such a big part of their culture that families were devastated by the loss of their collections. There were times when the Nazis not only stole the art, but they destroyed it. It was their attempt to erase the Jewish culture. Although it was taken from the Lederer family, the Beethoven frieze was not destroyed. After World War II, the Beethoven frieze came in the hands of the Austrian government. August Lederer's son, Erich, was living in Switzerland at the time because he had to flee from the Nazis. The Austrian government falsely attempted to return the painting to the Lederers. There was an export ban placed on the painting, so Erich was unable to bring it to his home in Switzerland. Because of the ban, Erich was forced to sell the painting to the Austrian government. The painting remained in Austria and eventually went back into the Vienna Succession Building. Years later, Lederer's heirs spoke up. They felt Erich was forced to sell the painting because of the export ban. They also argue that the painting was not sold for a reasonable price. They feel Erich was cheated by the Austrian government. The Restitution Board denied their claims because they felt the ban did not force Erich to sell the painting. Because of the export ban and the low price that the painting was sold, it is obvious that Eric had no choice whether to sell the painting or not. The Lederer family did not deserve a denial from the restitution board, but unfortunately, this is how many cases of Nazi-looted art ended up. The Beethoven frieze was only one painting out of many that were wrongfully taken from Jewish families during World War II.